Well, from what I understand, Troop 33 is not the first troop within our area. It was preceded by a Troop 21, and that was a brother troop, if you will. But I believe we were founded around the summer of 1920. It seems like we're chartered by the Takoma Park Presbyterian Church, and it seems like the elders of the church took some interest in the Boy Scouting movement around 1919, and by the summer of 1920, before the Independence Day parade, the troop was formed. So from what I understand from Historic Takoma Incorporated is that there was a real interest in having children involved in the 1920 Independence Day parade. So that was part of the sort of momentum behind starting the troop, I believe. I can't find a record of that specifically, but I do know that we were chartered around July 1st of 1920. So we've been around for over 100 years now. I think that we are very rooted in the community because we have the church, but then there's also the community itself wanted to rally around getting more involved in this Independence Day parade activity. And I think that's part of what sort of led to the establishment of the Boy Scout troop. Scouting units have to be chartered through some community organization. Our chartering organization is Takoma Park Presbyterian Church. And so the church elders and some of the congregation back in the early 20th century, after, interestingly enough, a pandemic, right? The pandemic of 1918. They were recovering from that, also from World War I, right? So people were coming back from war, and so people were starting families or reuniting with families. And so I think there was probably a zeitgeist about community. And so that is probably part of what led to the foundation of it. So we are chartered by the church, and they have a role in our governance. And then we have a troop committee, which are usually folks that have a youth that's in the unit. And then we have a scout master. Our scout master has a scout master corps. He has assistants. I'm one of his assistants. He has another assistant. And then with those committee members, we help guide the troop. But the troop itself is supposed to be boy-led. That's one of the tenets of scouting. And so the idea is that through scouting, these youth will learn leadership. And by doing that, they will organize themselves into patrols, and that they will plan their activities and then execute those activities or carry them out. And so, for instance, today here at our camp out, they organize the activities that they engaged in this afternoon. They plan the meals, and they are cooking the meals that they will eat. They'll also clean up, and they pitch their own tents, and they're gonna break their campsites themselves and police the areas, which is clean up after themselves. And so all of that is led by the youth, and so the adults are here to ensure their safety, and we are here to advise them. But largely, it's their show. They're running it. Being a boy-led troop, the boys are, in our case, boys, are driving the activities. They're deciding where they want to go camp, and they're organizing themselves to prepare for those campouts, and then they're actually here running the activities.
I originally joined the Cub Scouts when I was in kindergarten, and later on I moved up into Boy Scouts.
Oh, I always loved camping, going to campouts and building fires and pitching tents.
I remember back when we were in Cub Scouts, we would do cooking competitions, and I remember my age group, we won a lot, and we really enjoyed cooking in the cooking competitions, and so that was a lot of fun.
I remember when I first crossed over to the Boy Scout troop. Our troop owns a piece of land that we camp on sometimes, and the older scouts in the troop would invite me and some of the other younger scouts to play board games with them, and that was really fun.
I remember my first camp out when we played a manhunt at night, and it was really fun. We usually do some competitions, or we'll like do a troop-wide game like manhunt or like frisbee. I like manhunt. That's my favorite one, especially at night. We also we plan out meals for each of your patrols and do like fires together and do skits and stories, and it's a lot of fun.
I think we've learned a lot of valuable lessons from learning how to make a fire to learning how to tie knots. Also, I've learned leadership skills and like teamwork skills. That's really hard to learn when you're not working together as a team like you do in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I think like it's not just about learning about starting fires and tying knots and identifying plants and all that outdoorsy stuff, because it's also about, like Nick said, learning like leadership skills and teamwork skills, because that can help you just like in general in life, not just when you're outdoors.
I think also you learn a lot of life skills like first aid and how to cook, which can be really important, especially as you grow up, as you can end up in situations where you need to know how to cook or how to apply first aid.
The most important thing that I've learned is how to work as a team, how to accomplish a task as a group, not just by oneself, because that's the whole goal of scouting, is to learn lessons just like that.
There's 3 citizenship badges, merit badges. So you have citizenship in the community, where you learn about being a good upstanding citizen in a smaller community like a town or a city or in the state. Then you have citizenship in the nation, where you learn to be a good citizen as an American. And then citizenship in the world, where you kind of learn about the world and you kind of learn about sort of more global stuff and how to be a good citizen of the world. So yeah.
You move up with your age group as you complete tasks in the Cub Scouts, and when you go to the Boy Scouts, it's harder because you have to do it by yourself. You have to motivate yourself to rank up and get requirements.
There's Scout second, right?
Yeah.
Scout,
Tenderfoot.
right, Scout, Tenderfoot, and then second class, first class, Star, Life, Eagle, and then after Eagle there's Eagle Palms, which is just like essentially bonus things, because the main thing that you want to get is Eagle, but then after that, if you still have time in the troop before you turn 18 and age out, you can like make even more progress. The earlier ranks, most of the requirements are focused on learning things like how to prepare for like natural disasters, or like how to start a fire, identifying plants, that kind of stuff. And then the later ranks, the requirements are more focused on like leadership, like holding a leadership position for like 6 months, and it's because you learn the basic skills first and then focus on the leadership part.
You know, you can earn a merit badge for swimming, for first aid, wilderness survival, for camping, and all these kinds of things. And if you get, there are many merit badges, but there are a specific number that you need in order to get Eagle. And if you get those, you can get Eagle. But there are many in all kinds of different subjects. Eagle is just the final thing. That's the goal of Eagle Palms. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get Eagle Palms, but most people just get Eagle because that's the goal of all this.
I think it is the goal. Sometimes for other people it's not, and sometimes it's to have fun and make friends and go on campouts. But I think, in my opinion, for me at least, it is the goal because it can help you apply to colleges and other stuff down the road.
Although very few scouts make Eagle out of all of them, it's a very hard goal to achieve. You have to do all the requirements before your 18th birthday, and you have to complete an Eagle project, where you do a community service project, and you have to get it approved and go through all these hoops, and it's a tough thing to do. I'm hoping to get mine in time, but who knows, I might not.
Cheerful service is one of the cornerstones of the scouting movement, and we have expressed that through different activities. And so for one thing, I mentioned we are chartered by the Takoma Park Presbyterian Church. We help them annually with their bazaar that happens in the fall. We also help on the grounds of the church. During the spring, we help clean up, and that's a service project. We are involved in different conservation efforts around the community. So the Friends of Sligo Creek host the Sweep the Creek in the spring and in the fall. We participate in that. We also have the Eagle Scout rank is the highest rank that a youth can earn in scouting. And a lot of Eagle Scout projects focus on something that benefits the community. So that's another way in which service through scouting activity helps the community.
So I had an Eagle project where I went to a small garden near the Presbyterian Church, the Siegler Garden, and my project entailed doing some upkeep on the garden, taking out some bamboo, cleaning out an area that was very muddy, and digging a ditch to drain out the water from that area. Planting native plants and cutting down invasive plants. And after we were done, it was really good, and the garden improved a lot. And it felt really good to do that project and lead and see the difference that we made. So yeah.
For my Eagle project, anything really that helps out the community, helps out Takoma Park. If that means making a compost or making a bench or anything that helps the community out, I'd just be happy to do it.
So Nick was elected as the senior patrol leader by all the scouts. There was a full assembly, and they said yes, and he put his name in on the ballot, and they elected him. And typically what happens in that case, it's this older scout that's been in the troop that's our unit, it's a troop, has been involved for a few years. He's known by the other youth, and then he's shown himself to be a leader in the capacity, the different roles that he's played thus far. Like maybe he was a patrol leader prior to becoming the senior patrol leader. And then Nick will appoint assistant patrol leaders to help him, and then the patrol leaders and the senior patrol leader and his assistants all form the Patrol Leaders Council, and they are the ones that actually set the agenda for the program. He is someone that is likely to be striving to earn the Eagle Scout rank. And you asked about Eagles. I think we have 166 Eagle Scouts thus far. We had a couple of youth that just achieved that rank here in the last month. So I think 166, it's either 165 or 166, but we have a strong tradition of sort of minting Eagle Scouts, so to speak. So Nick was elected, so citizenship is another cornerstone of scouting, something that we try to teach the youth. So he was elected by the troop members.
I'm the senior patrol leader for our troop, and basically I supervise what's going on. I plan meetings with the help of the Patrol Leaders Council, and I basically just overwatch what's going on, make sure everybody is doing what they're supposed to, and make sure that everybody's having a fun time. Today we played a game of Ultimate Frisbee. Later we did a campfire competition to see who can make a campfire the quickest between all the patrols, and later we're gonna make dinner and have a campfire to end off the day. Everybody in the patrols helps cook and clean the dinner.
Although there's one person in each patrol who is designated the grub master, and they buy all the food, and then they will cook it. So they're in charge of the food for each patrol, but all the patrol eats the food, and and that's one of our favorite parts of the camp out. We're gonna have mac and cheese. Although if you want an example of a great menu, you ought to talk to Charles. he's gonna like deep fry food. He does really elaborate stuff.
For lunch, Charles made ice cream because he brought an ice cream machine, and he made like a big thing of mint chocolate chip ice cream, and I had some, and it was delicious.
He did this thing where he had a Dutch oven. You know what that is? Like a big cast iron pot. And he filled it with oil, and he deep fried. He made like fried chicken and fried onions and fried Oreos. It was so good.
Taking the coals out of the fire so we can heat up the Dutch oven, and we're going to be putting the oil in the Dutch oven so we can fry things. Have fried fish, French fries. We're trying to make bloomin' onions, but I'm not sure how well they'll turn out. And then for dessert, we have donuts. Usually we just pick a grub master. In this case, we didn't really have a grub master, so I just did it. We basically, when we're picking the menu, we just go into a patrol meeting on Zoom, and we throw out ideas, and then if people like ideas, we just do those ideas. So for example, this time, people were just like throwing out macaroni and cheese for lunch and ice cream, so we did that. And then now we're going to do a bunch of fried stuff for this, so we have to cook up a bunch of coals, but we just like throw it out, and then whichever is the most popular, we do that, as long as it's like cheap enough to do on a patrol budget. I first got into it because a bunch of the men in my family have also been Boy Scouts. Like my grandfather was an Eagle Scout, my uncle was an Eagle Scout. So that's what got me into Cub Scouts, and then I stayed in because it's just, there's a whole bunch of fun activities like camping, and I get to hang out with other people and not have to worry about school stuff. I can just go do fun things outside. And also, I mean, like the advancement is good for college, which is a plus, but other than that, it's just like a fun activity that I can do with other people.
I like camping a lot, especially recently. We've done a lot, like the last few years, we've done a lot of backpacking, which is very fun, and horseshoe is also a lot of fun. And before I didn't really do camping or that much, and I wasn't that into Boy Scouts, but then I started doing it more, and I got more invested in Boy Scouts, I guess.
My parents just put me in, but to Cub Scouts when I was younger, but then I heard about Camp Horseshoe, and I decided to stay in Boy Scouts. Going outdoors and acting like a crazy person in front of everybody else, and there's a lot less adults, so we don't have to do homework or do like drawing or reading, because we can be outside and start fires and make like whatever we want and whittle, stuff like that.
I have been in Boy Scouts since like kindergarten. My parents originally signed me up, and then I just stuck with it because I enjoyed hanging out with all my friends, really, and I like making fires and doing activities. I like making fires personally, and I like playing games like Frisbee or Capture the Flag or something. Normally we wear the uniform when we're doing meetings in person, and sometimes when we drive up to events, and when we're like Scout summer camp. But other than that, we can take our uniforms off. Sometimes we wear Class B uniforms, which is just like a normal shirt with the insignia on it and stuff.
There's a lot of opportunities for youth to spend their time engaged in, and so scouting is only one of many things. And but we still have a focus on the outdoors, conservation, service, citizenship, and if those kinds of things appeal to families, then we hope that they would want to consider joining Scouts BSA, as it's called.